remember the first time I held him in my arms and I looked into those eyes. I was done for. I was captivated.
I remember when my wife Ruth told me about Caleb, that Seth had a brother and that she was going to go pick him up. We agreed and to take Caleb in. And when he first came home, he was just a bundle of joy. He was so full of life and happy and squirmy and squiggly. It was hard to keep him contained sometimes. But I thought that when I held him, this kid was going to grow up to do great things.
He got the nickname KK because his big brother couldn't call him Caleb. So KK stuck, and it was who he was. He was the sweetest baby, easygoing, loving, loved to cuddle. He would go to sleep every time in my arms as I rocked him. He loved to be rocked in his rocker. As he began to learn and explore, he, would always be looking back. Is mom there? Is mom there? And, I remember always feeling like my kids never really needed me. And I remember sharing that with a nursery worker. Oh, they'll be fine in here. My kids never need me in nursery. Nope, Caleb. They always had to call me back for Caleb. And it warmed my heart. And he held such a special place in my heart.
I remember years ago when we were at church and we had a big family and we had a 15-passenger van, so it was a big van. And so I was rounding everybody up to go home from church and called everybody in. We got everybody packed up and off we went to home. And as we got home and we were all unpacking, getting out, someone said, "Where's Caleb?" And we looked in the van and we couldn't find him. So I had to hurry up, get back into the van, drive back to the church. And when I arrived there, I looked for him out back of the church and he was playing with a group of kids, unaware that we'd ever left, but just having a good old time. And that's Caleb. He always loved to have fun.
And as he grew, he always was anchored. He was anchored to me. He would come and he would talk to me. And I remember hours throughout his life where we would sit and we'd talk about his fears and his dreams and his hopes. We'd talk about his friends. We'd talk about his girlfriends. We'd talk about God. We would talk about the future. We would talk about what life meant. And he was always so contemplative and so deep in his thoughts, but always willing to share them with you. And there were times where, it wasn't always about him either, because there'd be times where he'd come to me and he'd say, "Mom, how you doing?" And he really wanted to know. And it meant a lot to him that I shared with him what I was feeling, as it meant for him for everyone in his life. He really wanted to know where people were and what they were feeling.
My son and I would often have talks. We'd like to talk about the Lord. And he was always out evangelizing, even though he struggled with certain things in his life. He would always just go out and talk to people, make friends with people, and then he would say, "Hey, come on over to my house. I want you to meet my parents. We'll have a Bible study together." And he'd bring these people home that I didn't even know. For the first time I'd meet them, and he was asking, "Dad, open the Bible. Let's have a Bible study." And so we would have a Bible study and we would talk about the Lord and share the good news with those people that didn't even know him. And we always had a good time.
We were blessed to have Caleb. We were blessed from the day we met him, and we'll be blessed forever because he's never gone. He'll always be in our hearts. That mischievous, that adventurous, that get in trouble little fella that was always looking for the next thing to do. But to me, he was also always that little boy that came home and said, "I love you, Mom."
I came home from work and I saw him at the table and he was waiting for me to get home so we could do his math together. And I remember Dad actually not being too pleasantly happy with that because he was willing to help him, but Caleb refused and was like, "No, Chantel needs to help me with my homework." So that definitely made me smile. I'm the cool big sister. So that was pretty awesome. And then, gosh, my latest memories of Caleb and things that I just remember is that he's genuine and he just gave the biggest hugs and always remembered to tell me he loved me. And he just was such a caring person, and he would even send Facebook personal messages to me just telling me how much he loved me and how much he didn't deserve my love, which he really does. He deserves our love. And so he was just real. And I appreciated his honesty with me. I'd ask him stuff and he didn't try to hide things. He was honest with me. So he had a big heart and a wonderful smile. And it's just sad to see him go, but I'm so thankful he's up in heaven. And I look forward to the day that I can be with him.
My brother Caleb Graham was the most loving brother I've ever had. He would, when someone was picking on me, he'd go to him and say, "Yo, don't pick on my brother. I'll beat you up." He was loving. He'd stand up for me. One of my favorite memories was when we moved a trampoline next to the house. We'd climb up on the roof and we'd jump off the second story part. My parents weren't home. We would do it with the neighbor kids. My dad always wondered why the trampoline was always getting closer to the house. And eventually caught on because we'd move the trampoline back and forth. My brother loved me. I know that. Caleb was awesome. He would tell me to keep my head up when I was down. He always said, "Seth, I love you. I love you." And then I wouldn't say it back all the time. And then one time he said, "Why don't you ever tell me I love you?" And then I said, "Caleb, I love you. I just don't like it, talking about it." And he's like, "It's good to talk about it." There you go. That's my brother for you. There is so many more memories I have of him, and I will always cherish them.
He is an amazing dancer. I know this because one time I was dancing, bumping some music, and he just walked right in and started showing me his dance moves. I never seen anybody so confident about dancing. And I tell you, like, he looked one of those kids right out of MTV. He wanted me to dance battle with him, and that became our thing. Anywhere we dance here at music, he will start dancing, showing some moves, and I'll show mine, and it kind of became our thing. He has such a big personality. He's smart, he's kind, he's lovable, he's funny. Like I said, any holiday, it's not gonna be the same.
When we went to school together at Matson, there were times when, he would be pulling short jokes. When did Willy Wonka let out the Oompa Loompas? And nobody else could get away with that except him. And I remember that like it was yesterday. He would come out with the stupidest short jokes, but, can't stay mad at somebody when he's your brother. I miss him like crazy. I can't do this.
He'd always ask if he looked good. Yeah, like how Janae would say it. And then he'd ask me if something matched or if he looked hot. Cause he always had to look really hot whenever he went out. Yeah. He was protective and he gave a lot of advice. I don't know, he's just really caring. And he didn't want me doing any bad stuff. Like, he's been through a lot, so he'd always tell me not to do stupid stuff, but I'd do it, and then he'd tell me, oh, I knew it. Like this one time when I got suspended, it was the night of, and he knew something bad was gonna happen, and he like pulled out his journal, and he showed me stuff, and we were talking, and he's like, Joe, it's really stupid to do all that stuff. Yeah, so he was always right about everything. That's kind of why I looked up to him and stuff. I know. He's a good person.
Caleb, AKA KK. So Caleb had a huge imagination, just like I did. I think that's one of the reasons that we got along so well. We were just so creative and adventurous. So me with the camera and Caleb having the adventurous, do whatever big sister says attitude, we would go in the backyard and I would make them be soldiers in my war movies. And I'd teach them how to light firecrackers. They were buried under dirt so that it looked like explosions. And then in the very, very serious parts when the music goes down, I would make them run in slow motion. So I didn't have any editing software, so it wasn't like I could do it post and, just slow the film down. So being creative, I would make them start at the back of our half-acre lot, and I would actually make them run like this, literally in slow motion. And so when I filmed it, it actually looked like they were running in slow motion. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
I think one of my best memories with Caleb was definitely a deep one. I moved to Enumclaw my junior year and I just felt like I didn't fit in, and I had a bad self-confidence issue, and I remember him and me on the kitchen table and how he would tell me I was beautiful and how he was so sweet, and he always lifted me up. And it was funny because he just never thought that way of himself, but even on a rainy day that he was having, he always made sure that everyone around him was happy and that everyone around him was smiling, because that's the kind of heart he had. And Caleb, I miss you a lot. And I'm sad we didn't get to spend any more time together. But I'm glad our last words were, you're a dweeb and you're a loser, because those are words of love.
So, talking about Caleb, about how he was a goofball and a prankster just like I am. One of our biggest things was when we go camping all the time. Be like a group of 20 of us just hanging around, turning on the fire. That is until the fire went out, and then we'd get ourselves into a ton of trouble. They would dump porta potties on their friends when they were in them, put fish in people's tents, fireworks off of all of the kids' playgrounds, anything and everything. It was always a ton of fun, and he made tons of friends there and always made a lot of memories. Caleb was always there for you when you needed him. Always a really good friend, a great brother. Always came to the girls' events and to anybody's events. And he always supported you.
Caleb was a very nice brother, and he made me feel happy because he was so cool, and he was always nice to me, and he never gave up on me. And this is one of the memories I remember is when I got home from school and I saw a skateboard on the porch, and I asked him whose it was, and he says it was his, but I could have it. So I asked him to teach me how to ride it, and he took me out into the street and put me on the skateboard, but I was so freaked out because I thought I was gonna fall. And so then he did that, and then in just like a half an hour I was writing it by myself, and I thought it was so cool.
Caleb was an awesome brother. He always had a lot of fun with me, and my favorite memory about him was when we were making something and we put too much milk in it, and then we ruined it, and so we couldn't make it anymore.
Particular religious bent, pretending to be our own gods, inventing our own systems of belief so as to not depend on anything other than our own self-governing consent, defending an impending doom with no perceived need to concede or repent, presuming our innocence in a sense descent. The sting of death was only the inevitable end of everything we could never rightly understand or comprehend. We used to fear the unknown till God made himself known in its own, mending the relationship between God and man, giving his life as a ransom for many when he died and ascended. And in that one event, the certainty of eternal death was circumvented, making a way for the day when history stops and time suspends, spending eternity in fellowship that never ends. We see the greatest expression of God's love extended in that moment when those who were once enemies instead became God's friends.
And when it's my time to go ahead and take me home. I know I'll be with you. I know I'll be with you. When it is my time to go ahead and take me home. Nowhere that I'd rather go. I wanna be with you.
How sweet the gospel sounds to ears like mine, well acquainted with pain and strained relationships, friendships that suffer from long distances, or even worse, they get severed from something more severe. And he still hasn't wiped away all my tears yet. My cheeks get wet every now and then, even when I give my best. I know I fall short, I get scared when the ball's in my court. Focused on my performance, wretched and poor, it makes the message more real when I preach it. I'm not there yet, so I'm reaching for a goal to stand before my king and be speechless. Then, never again will I question if his grace is sufficient to cover my sin. Cause death is gone, and all the effects of evil and wrong will be conquered when his kingdom comes. So this is my hope and my prayer, the air that I'll breathe in eternity with lungs that never fail me. If it pleases my Lord, and only by your grace, use my life till it's poured out for your sake. Until then, I'll remain where you have me, with joy when I feel unhappy, and a peace that surpasses all my understanding. My life is in the hands of your love everlasting.
And when it's my time to go ahead and take me home. I know I'll be with you. I know I'll be with you. When it is my time to go ahead and take me home. Nowhere that I'd rather go. I wanna be with you. And when it's my time to go ahead and take me home. I know I'll be with you. I know I'll be with you. When it is my time to go ahead and take me home. Nowhere that I'd rather go. I wanna be with you.
camera.